not only been robbing myself, but I have been robbing you all of the truth, because I know that you guys are not aware of a lot of stuff that's going on. And if you are aware of it, that's cool, but we still need to make sure that we are all sharing this information on our platforms. So if you guys are following the IG, like not IG, but YouTube, like posts in the community, I put up a post where the school board in Texas has instructed their teachers not to notify or inform parents if their children identify as transgender or non-binary. This should be an issue for us all, because we know with this whole trans thing, we know what it leads to. We see it. Like, we're not fools. We know that if in the mind of our children, if our son thinks that he's a woman, 9 times out of 10, he's going to castrate. If our daughters believe that they're men, 9 times out of 10, they're going to castrate. They're going to not castrate, but they're going to mutilate. They're going to, remove their breasts. Okay. We're talking about children. We're not talking about adults. We're talking about children that are in school. Now, I'm the parent. You're the teacher. It's not your job to, and we're supposed to be working together. Let's be clear. The parent and the teacher should be working together. The teacher should not be working against the parent, right? Nor should the parent be working against the teacher, unless it's in an instance like this, where you all have been instructed by a school board not to notify me if my child who is of school age is identifying as trans, non-binary, or any other thing that I'm not aware of. So that means that, for one, we could possibly be dealing with a child that has personality disorder. That means one way when they're home, they're one person, and when they come to school, they're another person. The school board in Texas has instructed parents not to inform their children. Now, I have a clip that I need to play for you all, because I kept telling you guys about this director of health that was appointed by Joe Biden. I refer to him as Dr. Rachel Levine, because before this doctor became Richard, before this doctor became Rachel, this doctor was Richard. This doctor is on video, and I'm going to be researching this video to play it for you all while we're looking at this clip of this exchange between him and Senator Rob Paul on the Congress floor. But this pick by Joe Biden for the assistant director of health has said out of his mouth that they want to make it legal to transition our children without parental consent. Then goes on to say specifically street children. I told you all before, we know who the street children are. They're the children that's in juvenile. They're the children that's in our cages right here in America. Everybody talking about the children in cages at the border, and they forgot all about the children in cages here. But that's who those children are. The street children that Dr. Rachel Levine is referring to. Now, why would you want to sexually transition a child without parental consent? I'm just asking. Let's play this clip. Y'all not gonna believe this. Okay, let's get it going. Mute my microphone.
Genital mutilation has been nearly universally condemned. Genital mutilation has been condemned by the WHO, the United Nations Children's Fund, the United Nations Population Fund. According to the WHO, genital mutilation is recognized internationally as a violation of human rights. Genital mutilation is considered particularly egregious because, as the WHO notes, it is nearly always carried out on minors and is a violation of the rights of children. Most genital mutilation is not typically performed by force, but as WHO notes, that by social convention, social norm, the social pressure to conform, to do what others do and have been doing, as well as the need to be accepted socially and the fear of being rejected by the community. American culture is now normalizing the idea that minors can be given hormones to prevent their biological development of their secondary sexual characteristics. Dr. Levine, you have supported both allowing minors to be given hormone blockers to prevent them from going through puberty, as well as surgical destruction of a minor's genitalia. Like surgical mutilation, hormonal interruption of puberty can permanently alter and prevent secondary sexual characteristics. The American College of Pediatricians reports that 80 to 95% of prepubertal children with gender dysphoria will experience resolution by late adolescence if not exposed to medical intervention and social affirmation. Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. And if I am fortunate,
Now, y'all remember, this looks like the same thing we saw in the video of Stu Peters and Allie Carter. He specifically asked a question about how it impacts our children. Dr. Richard has gone all the way around the board. Not only that, I'm going to back this video up because I want to make sure that you all are paying attention to the impacts that Senator Brad Paul says this has on our children and what it is that they want to do to our children. Not one time did Joe Biden's pick, right, for the assistant director of health who's making these decisions for our children in our schools for us, not one time did this person say, you're absolutely right, this is harmful to children. Senator Rand Paul even refers to this as genital mutilation. I'm coming out of the screen. I've got to back it up. I can't believe this. I cannot believe that my ears are hearing this, and that they are in Congress talking about our children on an open forum, and we're not tearing down the Board of Education and this wicked government like Black Lives Matter. Y'all gonna go stand and fight and protest for a grown person, somebody's grown child that happened to be murdered by the police, right? Maybe during the commission of a crime, I don't know. But you're not gonna go stand and fight for our children. Oh no, this can't happen. I know why they want to silence me, because baby, it's going down. Like, there is no way. Let's watch this. Hold on.
Genital mutilation has been nearly universally condemned. Genital mutilation has been condemned by the WHO, the United Nations Children's Fund, the United Nations Population Fund. According to the WHO, genital mutilation is recognized internationally as a violation of human rights. Genital mutilation is considered particularly egregious because, as the WHO notes, it is nearly always carried out on minors and is a violation of the rights of children. Most genital mutilation is not typically performed by force, but as WHO notes, that by social convention,
He mentioned something very important. He says social convention. Now, let me remind you all of something really quickly. Before Obama went in office, during Obama's administration, weren't we just advocating and protesting against the genital mutilation of girls over in Africa from having their clitorises removed and sewed up? Like, weren't we just advocating and fighting this over in Africa? And now it's here on your land, impacting your children, and don't nobody have nothing to say? I'm just asking.
norm, the social pressure to conform, to do what others do and have been doing, as well as the need to be accepted socially and the fear of being rejected by the community. American culture is now normalizing the idea that minors can be given hormones to prevent their biological development of their secondary sexual characteristics. Dr. Levine, you have supported both allowing minors to be given hormone blockers to prevent them from going through puberty, as well as surgical destruction of a minor's genitalia. Like surgical mutilation, hormonal interruption of puberty can permanently alter and
They want to give our children hormone blockers that prevent them from going right into puberty, right? So you want to prevent a young woman's breast from developing. You want to prevent a young man's penis from growing, right? I'm just asking. So if there is a little boy who's exhibiting some type of feminine behavior and the teacher decides that she wants to call defects and say, this boy is possibly a girl. So you're going to go against the parent, right? After you convince the child that he could be a girl, you're going to go against the parent. You're going to call defects. You're going to report the parent. We're going to have our parental rights taken away. And then you're going to give these children medication. Well, what if that child by the time turned 11 or 12 or 13 realized, you know what? I am a boy. I want to be a boy. Now he got a little shrimp. Huh? Sitting out here supporting these agendas. Everybody talking about we going natural, we going vegan, we need to watch what we're eating, but we're supporting agendas that are influencing our young daughters, nieces, cousins, women, the future of tomorrow, to cut their breast off so they can't even naturally feed their children. Man, don't get me, don't. I'm finna get started. Let's keep going.
prevent secondary sexual characteristics. The American College of Pediatricians reports that 80 to 95% of prepubertal children with gender dysphoria will experience resolution by late adolescence if not exposed to medical intervention and social affirmation. Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. And if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of Health, I would look forward to working with you and your office and coming to your office and discussing the particulars of the standards of care for transgender medicine.
The specific question was about minors. Let's be a little more specific since you evaded the question. Do you support the government intervening to override the parent's consent to give a child puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and/or amputation surgery of breasts and genitalia? You have said that you're willing to accelerate the protocols for street kids. I'm alarmed that poor kids with no parents who are homeless and distraught.
I don't even have to find the video. There it is right there. Even the senator, your sitting members of Congress. Now, let me also remind you guys of who Senator Rand Paul is. Senator Rand Paul is the one who legislated, and introduced the no-knock warrant after Breonna Taylor. This is also the man that I was walking out of the White House behind at the president's RNC speech, right? That was attacked by Black Lives Matter protesters screaming the name of Breonna Taylor. This, like, you talk about somebody being good and hot and aggravated and saying to myself, this is why these people call us stupid and look at us like we damn fools. They were attacking this man and his wife in the name of Breonna Taylor, not even understanding or having the knowledge. I know I'm screaming because I'm already mad. That this is the one who introduced it. All right, let's keep going from that. Now, check this out. He asked him very specifically, right? You went around this, okay? We're asking you about our children. You went all the way around this. Let me be very specific. And then he goes on to say, you even said, right, that you want to do this to street children, children who don't have parents. Who are the children? Black America, we talking about Black Lives Matter. Y'all come on with it now. Who are the children that have no parents? Well, It could be one or two things. Quite possibly all of the children that they're allowing to flow into our border that can't be traced. We won't never know if you was a boy or a girl, nothing, because you ain't got no documentation. We don't know who your parents are, nothing. And it could be our children, like Senator Rand Paul is saying, that don't have parents sitting inside of the American Juvenile Detention Center cages. Huh? The water boys. The one y'all saw me bless them, right? I'm pulling up, they telling the children not to listen to me. I want to bless them, change his whole life. This administration want to give them medication to stop them from going into puberty and to transition them. Now, could it be that you see these street children as a threat? Huh? Could it be that you look at these street children and in your mind you feel as though they're going to grow up and be street men? Huh? Or street women, right? But the attack is on the strength, the dominance. Come on, let's keep going.
You would just go through this and allow that to happen to a minor. I would hope that you would have compassion for Kira Bell, who's a 23-year-old girl who was someone who made a mistake, but was led to believe this was a good thing by the medical community. I made a brash decision as a teenager, as a lot of teenagers do, trying to find confidence and happiness, except now the rest of my life will be negatively affected, she said, adding that the medicalized gender transitioning was a very temporary, superficial fix for a very complex identity issue. What I'm alarmed at is that you're not willing to say absolutely minors shouldn't be making decisions to amputate their breast or to amputate their genitalia. For most of our history, we believe that minors don't have full rights and the parents need to be involved. So I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life. Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
Senator, transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field. And if confirmed to the position of Assistant Secretary of Health, I would certainly be pleased to come to your office and talk with you and your staff.
This is the same exact answer he just gave. This is Biden's pick for director, right? Assistant Director of Health. Not only is this Biden's pick, this is who every Democrat voted in office to make decision over our children. Like, stop talking to me about, Stacey Abrams and Ayanna Pressley and all these black people that's supposed to be for us when they're allowing these people to attack our children. Not one of them had the guts to stand up and vote no against this person getting in office and being allowed to make these decisions over our children. Now, if you are intelligent enough to be the Assistant Director of Health over the United States of America, then you should be intelligent enough to answer a straightforward question while you're sitting on the Congress floor, right? And not repeating the same propaganda that you had already stated. Now, first of all, let's get into this just a little bit deeper, because we were having a conversation yesterday when I was on my the live entitled Mad Again, and we were talking about, influencers and people influencing other people to live lives as they live. So if this is a man who in his mind believes that he has transitioned into a woman and was once a child, right? We psychologically, we make decisions and choices based off of several factors. And one of those factors happen to be, right, the lives that we lived, our upbringing, our beliefs. Now, you have someone that believes a man can be a woman, right? And he has every right to believe that. But because he is in a position of power, he is now made it legal, right? For them to instill and push these beliefs, right, onto our children. You can't even answer a straightforward question. This is the assistant director of health making decisions over all of us. And you keep saying, if you want to have a conversation, baby, we having a conversation right now. What is there to hide? If y'all want to know why I go so hard, if you want to know why I need your support, if you want to know why my voice needs to be on every platform, because it seemed to me I'm the only Black woman, right, with a platform, with a voice, with some form of credibility, right, that stands for Black life, that's willing to stand up and fight against this. We got all of these social justice warriors that they're putting before us on TV, giving them Cadillac commercials, giving them movie roles, right? They're on every outlet that's supposed to be Black entertainment, but when you go research my name on the internet, what do you see? Why are they silencing me? Why do they want to come paint me as a far right-wing conspiracy theorist when we sitting up here looking at it right now? We looking at it right now. This is not no play. And those of us in the community, like I keep saying this, like if you ever been a woman and you grew up and you didn't have, no brothers or no cousins or nobody to look after you or whatever, and a man or something did something to you and you ain't have nobody to call, like that's where we headed. Like I've always had, some type of man to call if I had an issue. A bunch of cousins, a retarded ass baby daddy, hey, some exes that were some fools. I got some uncles that ain't right. We've always had a man to call, right? If we needed some type of form or protection. They're putting us in a position that not only do they want to destroy our boys, because if they destroy them when they're boys, then we ain't never got to worry about them becoming men. They want to remove the men. They want to destroy the boys. They want to create a weak, right, existence among us all. Because if I can't defend myself against a man, we can't defend our children. They're putting us in a position where we can't even defend our own children. When I look at this and when I look at the interview from the other day, right? When I looked at the interview the other day with Stu Peters and Allie, and the first thing they had was the Black Panthers. Every Black group that tries to rise, right? Or even Black person, like, it's the reason why they want me silent. Like, I really, 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 really have the anointing, right, to raise a nation when it comes to what they're doing to our children. This is why we cannot afford to continue to go along with their agendas. This is not no play. This ain't they talking about it. No, baby, they doing it. This is what's happening right now, okay, in our society, in America, right, in our schools, happening to our children. He said several things. He said pressure from society, social affirmation, right? This is my whole experience. You see a mother on the show with Dr. Phil saying, no, I gave birth to a male child, and this supposedly renowned doctor gonna sit in my face and tell me, no, I didn't. What? Social affirmation. Social affirmation. Bringing the big silverback gorilla out on stage in the wig, Mr. Ashy Preston, right? Social affirmation, right? You want to socially affirm and go against what I'm saying in front of both my children. Instead of you bringing another mother out to come talk to me, another mother who has experienced a child transitioning to come talk to me and try to help me understand. You want to bring out a 6'4", 500-pound grown man in the wig with extra large bananas and cherries to sit down and talk to me to socially affirm what I know to be factually true. We absolutely have a problem. Don't be sitting there thinking, oh, well, you know, it ain't gonna happen in my household. Baby, we just getting started. The children got to have children. And then they children gonna have some children. We just getting started. I'm on the live the other day. I'm on live with my baby Jay, right? And so they doing some type of speed dating thing or whatever, right? So Jay was looking for a date. So it was this little boy, or I thought it was a little boy, looked just like a little boy to me, right? Talking about how much he was in love with Jay, right? Want to marry Jay, all of this stuff, right? So me, I'm just being nosy because y'all remember how our grandmamas them used to do us. We on the phone, then all of a sudden we hear them breathing because they eavesdropping and listening. I used to be telling my grandmama, Shug, I hear you breathing. I know you on the phone. She don't even say nothing. She just sitting there. So I'm just looking out, you know, I'm just being nosy. So the little boy go to take his shirt off, right? You got a whole fade, you manly in the face, a whole boosie fade and everything, right? Go to take his shirt off, took his shirt off on the live. I'm like, wait a minute, where's your nipples? Then it hit me. I said, what? Wait a minute. It's a girl. Our children. And we're seeing a lot of this, right, take place with our younger children, right? I've got a special guest coming up on the show February 19th on my birthday, Flame Monroe, confirmed. We're going to have a conversation. A lot of us know who Flame Monroe is. We're seeing this trend heavy in our children, and we're wondering why, because even me, it just hit me like a ton of bricks from the left, because I was like, I was seeing, I can see, right? So I knew that, there was femininity there, and I was okay, because I was like, okay, this is just what it is, right? And then when my son just made a decision, that he wanted to, transition or whatever, like that hit me with a ton of bricks because it came from left field. Because I'm like, okay, there's a difference between being gay and being transgender, right? A man can be gay all day. He's a man that knows he likes men, and he also knows that he's a man. That's gay. Transgender is something different. So there's a difference between gay and transgender. Now, the reason why there's so much concern with me when it comes to our children, because you can't be transgender unless you transition. And if you transition, right, that transitioning process does damage to your body. Now, we have the general public, and then we have a mother. Do you want any part of your child's body cut off? Do you want something to happen where your child is in a car wreck and has to lose a limb? Do you want any part of your child's body cut off as a parent? Then it's, you're transphobic. Well, maybe so. If that's something that is going to cause the child that I carried, that I birthed, that I raised, that I nurtured, that I bathed, that I fed, that I took care of, to harm their bodies, it don't matter if the doctor putting you to sleep and you don't know what's happening during the process. That's the same thing that happens to an amputee. How are we okay? How are we okay with our children being amputated? How are we okay with the bodies of our children being mutilated? How are we okay with the people that voted for this? So not only are you voting to kill our babies in the womb, right? You want, listen, Kamala, past 5 months. What? A whole fully formed baby. Not only that, the Born Alive Act If a baby survives an abortion attempt and is born alive, that the doctor will render aid and treat that baby as his own person. These people voted against a whole baby surviving an abortion attempt. Voting to kill our babies. Voting to mutilate our children. And if we got something to say about it, we're transphobic bigots. We hate our children. We're insane. We're crazy. See, it's deeper, right, than just, oh, I'm a man today, I'm a woman tomorrow. No, let's talk about what involves that process. Now, it was one thing when y'all was saying, okay, you grown, you an adult, you do what you do. And I still don't understand that because like I said, my child ain't even old enough to go buy no alcohol. You can't buy no alcohol, but you can go have your body mutilated and amputated and they're going to pay for it. There is funding available for this. They're making us pay for it. They're taking our tax dollars, making us pay to mutilate our children and to lynch our children in the womb. America, Angela, we got a problem. We have a problem. We have a problem. People, we have a problem. Let's keep going. Came back with the same answer. And black women in Congress always screaming Black Lives Matter. How do Black Lives matter? I want to have a conversation. If I run again, will y'all please get me in Congress? Will y'all please get me in Congress? I need to have a conversation with everyone in there on that floor. Help me understand why this is okay. Help me understand why nobody has the guts to speak up against this. Help me understand how the same people screaming Black Lives Matter, bending one knee in Congress, wearing Kunta Kinte cloth and all of that, how they voting for this, and in the same breath want to come to Georgia and tell us about how our voting rights being restricted. If this what they voting for, restrict them. Restrict every member in Congress that's voting for our children to be mutilated and for our babies to be murdered in the womb. How about we do that? Let's start there. I'm finished. Shut up. Let's keep going.
About the standards of care and the complexity of this field.
Let it go into the record that the witness refused to answer the question. The question is a very specific one. Should minors be making these momentous decisions? For most of the history of medicine, we wouldn't let you have a cut sewn up in the ER, but you're willing to let a minor take things that prevent their puberty, and you think they get that back? You give a woman testosterone enough that she grows a beard, you think she's going to go back looking like a woman when you stop the testosterone? You have permanently changed them. Infertility is another problem. None of these drugs have been approved for this. They're all being used off-label. I find it ironic that the left that went nuts over hydroxychloroquine being used possibly for COVID are not alarmed that these hormones are being used off-label. There's no long-term studies.
Very important information that we're getting here. Very important information that we're getting here. We're understanding that the medicine that they're giving our children, right? And people are asking if Dr. Rachel Levine is a woman, he's transgender, or she's transgender. I don't know. I always get it mixed up. They're giving our children medicine that hasn't even been approved. They don't want us to believe, right, that everything else that they're giving us is an experiment. But they right here, they treating our children like lab rats and lab frogs. Not only are they dissecting aborted babies, let's just be clear, and doing whatever they're doing with their parts, they sitting up here playing Frankenstein with our children. Like not only are they dissecting aborted babies, let's just be clear, and doing whatever they doing with their parts. They sitting up here playing Frankenstein with our children. Like, I remember watching Frankenstein when I was a little girl. Put on his head, put on his arm, change his face. Our children? Like, if you're an adult and you want to go change your body, go ahead. But why our children? Children who are like, if you can make these type of decisions, you don't need a parent. Like, what? I don't need to parent you. If you have the capability to make this type of decision, that means you can work your own job, you can make your own money, you can pay your own bills, you can figure out how to maneuver through life. Taking away our rights as a big, help us, Lord.
We don't know what happens to them. We do know that there are dozens and dozens of people who've been through this who regret that this happened and a permanent change happened to them. And, you know, if you've ever been around children, 14-year-olds can't make this decision. In the gender dysphoria clinic in England, 10% of the kids are between the ages of 3 and 10. We should be outraged that someone's talking to a 3-year-old about changing their sex. I can't vote for you if you can't.
Thank you so much, Senator Paul. Senator Levine, thank you for answering the question. I will turn to Senator Baldwin.
Trying to get us out of here before Friday. With that, the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Jordan, is recognized.
Mr. Horowitz, does Peter Strzok like the president?
I can only speak to what his text messages say, and they're obviously not positive comments about the president.
February and March of 2016, Peter Strzok said, Trump's abysmal. Trump's an idiot. He's a bleeping idiot. Hillary should win 100 million to 0. Sounds to me like he hates the president.
His text messages would certainly leave that.
So listen, I don't want to get into other stuff. I want to stay focused on what we're talking about right here. So the last thing he said is you all don't have an issue with someone talking to a 3-year-old about changing their sex. How does a 3-year-old even know what sex is? Anybody? I'm getting ready to just, let me see. I got 15 minutes. I'm going to drop the link inside of the comment. So if you want to hop on here right quick, and you want to talk with me about what's going on with our children, let me post the link in the comment. There it is. Somebody talk to me. Somebody talk to me. Somebody, if you know a 3-year-old, or if you have a 3-year-old and the 3-year-old knows about sex, can somebody, anybody that's in the comments, tell me if it's okay to talk to a 3-year-old child about sex? I just want to know. Ricky, here we go. Let me hear it.
Good morning, Angela. How you doing?
Good morning.
I was following you on Twitter when you got attacked by what I call the Delusionati. Mm-hmm. And they took you down quick. Mm-hmm. That's what I worry about you here on YouTube. You know, the thing is, you have a right to vocalize your opinion, especially when it comes to your child. By them attacking you was a bold statement that that you don't have the right to protect your child, nor do you have the right to vocalize the train of dysfunction that they're pushing on you and your family. Mm-hmm. It angered me. That's one of the things that kind of drawn me to you. I saw the Dr. Phil interview. And when looking at this Dr. Phil interview, it seemed like he wasn't, you know, anybody else that was having problems between their child and the parent. He's always trying to find a solution. You remember the Cash Me Outside chick? They made the villain of the daughter, but the daughter by left-wing media became some sort of superhero. Why wasn't he trying to do that for you? Why wasn't he trying to figure out what happened in your son's life to figure out how did this happen? When did this happen? Where did this happen? Was there some sort of abuse that happened in the past? With me and in my camp, I try to reach out to the other side to figure out, okay, what happened? And a lot of the stories that I hear, especially from transgenders, is that there was some sort of abuse that had taken place, something that derailed their manhood from a younger age. So when you stood up and said what you said and done what you done, I was angered because here it is, you're a black woman, right? They listen to you way more than they would listen to me. Why all of a sudden those gloves came off and they attacked you?
Yep. About my own child. And
About
that's
your
the whole
child.
thing. And trying to convince me, and discriminating against my own personal conscience. And everybody was telling me, don't do the show, don't do the show. They're going to flip it on you. Be careful. And I was like, no, I need to do this show because we have to open up the eyes to our community to show them just how serious this is. And like you said, when you saw it, it angered you. And we have to see that this stuff is real. Even when the other girl went on Dr. Phil, who was a black girl, and said that she was white. He told her it was no way that she could possibly be white, right? Went against everything she said. In her mind, she believed she was white. But when I go on there with my son, all of a sudden, I'm the villain. Creole, thanks for joining us. Talk to us this morning.
How y'all doing this morning? Grand Rising to y'all.
Grand Rising.
So, with all this going on, it is to me, it's ridiculous and it's crazy. Me personally, I think it's a depopulation agenda. Because why are you trying to transform our little girls into boys? Why are you trying to transform our little boys to girls? Ultimately, we know why. Because if that happens, they can't have kids. And Angela, I learned this from you. I didn't know 50% of our little ones are getting aborted. That is massive. I didn't know that until you brought that to light. And then I did my homework. I'm like, wow. So with you bringing this to the stage, I'm like, wow, they're really trying to erase us off the map. We're already only 13% of the United States. So what does that show you? Maybe in about 10 to 20 years, they're trying to make it maybe 9%, if not, and just work their way to zero. Exactly.
And that's the agenda. So we have them aborting our babies, transitioning our children, removing men from the home, whether it's through, mass incarceration or this hip hop culture that we're living in. Because remember, this all ties in together. Because my son's father, right, arrested when he was 10 years old, go to prison, it's part of this hip hop culture. Everybody want to be in the streets. Everybody want to have drugs. Everybody want to have all the money. You take it out of his life, you go to prison for 9 years. You get out of prison, get right back in the rap game. Not even a year later, somebody taking your life, and now your children out here fatherless. Any way they can figure out a way, right, to push us to what they've done is they've taken the blood off of their hands and put it on our hands, right? So they no longer have to come kick in our door and go hang us from a tree to get rid of us, right? We don't need the KKK anymore because they have equipped us, right, to go against each other. Mother against child, right? Believing that the baby's life, is not worthy, right? Black man against black man with this hip hop culture we got, that you some type of king or something if you take somebody's life, or you supposed to get some type of credit, or believing that we got to have an extensive record in order to be cool, or you got to go to jail. Everything about what we're doing right now leads to our depopulation. And if we don't begin to have these conversations, begin to stand up, begin to fight back, begin to demand, right, that they have voices like mine, voices like ours, right, hold these people accountable, then guess what? Whatever happens to us, right, it's really, the ball is in our court right now. Exactly. And silence is violence. Exactly. Silence is violence. So either we're going to stand up and have a real fight, stand for what really matters, or we're going to continue to be a part of the go along to get along gang. And my question is, again, what are we going to do?
Now, when Jim Crow Joe got elected and he had told the Congressional Black Caucus about this country's going to be minority white, he was sending two different messages out there. These messages were very esoteric, but they were out there on the table. Minority white. You really wanted to hear what he was saying. Minority white meaning what? Y'all white people, I'm going to punish you for your support of right-wing politics. Black people, you better start learning how to work with Hispanics because they make up a more higher number than you do. What was he telling us? We're about to be eradicated because if you're telling 60% of the population that they're going to be the minority and that Hispanics make up a more higher number than we do, as it stands right now, by the year 2040, we're not going to be in existence.
And let me just reiterate on that for you. He absolutely did say that, all while allowing illegal immigrants to flow through our borders, right? Millions of them, but when the Haitians come, they got to get turned back, right?
Mhm.
They stripping off Haitians right now, and also globally funding abortion, not only just here in America, but in Africa. So they're telling you, we know, right, that the Latinos, right, outnumber you all because we bringing them in the country. We giving them $450,000, right, to be able to take care of their families. But yet and still, what we're going to give you is to pay for your children to be aborted so we can make sure that you all stay the minority. Because one thing about it, like he said, see, they don't want blacks ruling. Can you imagine if we were the majority? There is a reason why we are still only 13% of the population. And it's like, when are we going to wake up? Now, Sister Inya just got on here. There is a reason why we are still on. Inya, can you turn your TV down in the background? Because it's got a lag and we hear it through the thing. We are still on. Inya, can you turn your TV down?
Probably got me to YouTube.
Got a lag.
To the YouTube and on live.
Or mute your YouTube or something. Okay, let's go, sister. Welcome to the conversation.
Hello. Welcome. You're absolutely right. I literally have this conversation so often. I don't even think people around me even hear me. But it's frustrating. Like whether it's the abortions, whether it's just everything. It's everything.
And you know what's sad about it is that our elders and the people that's constantly telling us, they're telling us to vote for our own genocide at this point. And it's disrespectful, right? It's disrespectful that these people in their minds are trying to convince us that we need to vote for our own genocide. If we've been voting Democrat for the past 50 or 60 years, and this is where we are, all we got is welfare and abortion, and still have oppression. They telling us we don't have the right to vote, that CRT is oppression. What have they done? What have they accomplished? And why are we continuing to do the same thing, which is vote for these same people, and nothing has gotten better for us?
Hey, Angela, I want to add one thing to that. I really feel like a lot of people would get on board if they understood two things: their history, and then also self-love. Because where that comes into place is they got to understand that the killing of our people has been going on for so long. And then also, if we loved ourselves, we wouldn't get rid of our people. You know, we would do everything we could to make sure our numbers grow, you know? And I just feel like people are not taking it seriously. They're like, oh, well, you know, if I get pregnant, I can just get an abortion. That doesn't matter. Well, no, you're taking a life, you know? But when you talk like that, you know, you run into the my body, my choice, you know, conversation, which is always kind of, me as a man is going to kind of, in my generation, I'm only 24, it's going to get always overridden because that's just how it is, you know, even though the majority are saying it, that doesn't make it right. But, you know.
And I think that's so wrong because they're saying my body, my choice. And all of us know we don't have the same bodies as our mamas. We just don't. You and your mother don't have the same body. So they gave women a choice to abort their children, right? And now they're giving our children a choice to transition, and they wrap it, right, in this big, pretty gift that screams liberation. That's not liberation. It's genocide. And they don't want people to hear this message, right? And we need to really start holding, like, I'm really getting tired of all of these people that they uplift, right, that are supposed to be spokesperson for us, but they still aren't getting anything done. All of these people, and I'm going to just call out a few names. I'm not hating. We're just having a conversation. But when it comes to, you know, my son, right, or when it comes to Tamika Mallory, or when it comes to who else we've seen out here, Yandy Smith, all of these people that's supposed to represent and fight for Black Lives Matter, y'all ain't got nothing. We still don't have a bill. Still don't have nothing passed. Nothing has been done. Y'all haven't done anything about the justice because that happened between the jury. We still don't have any tangibles. But when you have someone like me or others of us that have actually worked, right, within the government and got things done, they want you to hate those of us. Like, why are we not holding these people accountable for making absolutely no strides? And if y'all still on that and ain't got nothing accomplished, then that means we need to move on to something else. And I think what our focus needs to be for 2022 is our children, because once we've lost our children, we have lost our future.
Amen. Angie,
I'll say.
I want to tell you a story that happened when I was in Washington. The same time you were up there and you were leaving the White House. I was down on the streets on K Street in Washington, and there was some Black Lives Matter people there. One guy was a transgender guy. I had my MAGA gear on. He accuses me of wanting to be white, and I said, "Okay."
Well,
so
you
let
want
me.
to be a woman?
Yeah. So I said, if I want to be white, I said, I'm gonna go with this here. I'm gonna entertain this. I'll bite. I said, I feel like I was born in the wrong body.
Okay.
I was born in the wrong body.
Can I get my white privilege, please?
And I'm up here trying to support this white man, and y'all should be doing the same. I listen to country music, I listen to rock. I got a white wife, and I was just born in the wrong body. I said, so can you respect me as being transracial like I can respect you for being transgender? That's what started that big ass fight when they started throwing water bottles. That conversation.
I wish I would have known this, because I think I got hit with about 2 or 3 of them. I don't know. We was trying to get up, but see, really, I'm gonna tell you something. Like, you have to be strong and firm in who you are, right? And always be yourself. And one thing about me, even on that side, when we did come out and we were faced with all of that adversity, like, I was able to stand my ground. And people who even were on that side and were fighting, they knew to give me, a level of respect, because they knew the real. And I stood out there for hours speaking with some of our young people about how they were just caught up and being misled, right? And how they were being used, because many of them were out there telling me about how they were facing 10 years for protesting, for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. A lot of those, y'all talking about January 6th, there are a lot of our young people, right, that went to prison and have been charged with rioting and protesting, because those protests and those riots were violent. And there were some people that destroyed property, and there were some people that didn't. But if you were even with the group, you were also charged. So they got our people out there feeling like they fighting against some type of unjust system, and the whole while they getting tricked and they're getting criminal backgrounds. Then they started this whole movement like, well, we're raising money to bond them out of jail. Okay, you bond me out of jail, I still got to go back to court. I still need a lawyer. You understand where I'm coming from? Like, they act like they've done them a real favor when they use them, because the people that were telling them to go stand out there and fight, burn everything down, they weren't out there fighting.
No.
They weren't out there burning anything down.
It also wasn't their cities.
And it wasn't their cities. You understand? So that's just another thing. But guys, I gotta get ready to go. I thank you all for coming on this morning. Young man, you Creole, 24 years old, man, my hat just off to you. So intelligent. Your mind is right. I'm so proud for your future, the children that you are going to raise, the awesome husband that you are going to be, the father. I think that you're going to be awesome because your mind is right. We need more young men like this. My guy, Ricky, up there at the top, keep doing what you're doing. My sister, Inya, you know what it is, sis. It's time. We got to stand up. Once we stand up and we start fighting for these children, and they see how they attacking us as mothers trying to protect our babies, our men coming out of the woodwork. And those of us, what I had to realize was that it wasn't my job to wake up everybody, because I'm like, man, they got to get this. But I was sent to wake up the lions, right? Like, because I ain't the only lion out here. I've been sent to wake up the lions. Once we get all of our lions woke, and they coming one by one, Kwame, Ricky, a bunch of other brothers that I've influenced that watch the show, our boy Tony the Closer, like, they're waking up. They're seeing what's going on. Once our lions wake up, then together and collectively, we can go after the sheep. So
Angie,
I love you all.
Quick question. Are you running for 2022, right? For Congress?
Nope.
2024?
2024, maybe. Maybe, I'm getting a little, they say, I'm hearing that, somebody else might run in 2024. So
let me work on your campaign with you.
I want everybody on the campaign. We going crazy.
I got some resources. I gave you my email yesterday. And I don't want to put too much on your channel, but just send me an email and I can send you everything I'm working with right now.
I'll send you
I
the
promise
email.
you.
I'll send you the email when we get done. But we looking like 2024. I want to use these next 2 years to kind of just grow the Ash Show. You know, the first live taping is going to be this Saturday, and just use that as a form of communication to get the word out to our people, to wake them up. And as we use that as a line of communication to reach more and more our people, by the time 2024 come, they ain't gonna be able to do nothing with us. And that's why they want me to be silenced. And y'all know that. They don't want y'all to know that they secretly coming after our children. They want everybody to be focused on racism, right? While they sitting up here trying to transition our children, murder our children. It's a lot going on. Also, one more thing, guys, I'm gonna come back, if not today, maybe tomorrow. We need to talk about what's going on with these vaccine mandates, what they're saying about these vaccines and the children. I need to make sure that I keep you guys up to date with all of that. So I'm ending the live.
I'm gonna show you, Angie, too.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys later. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care.
See you, everybody.